I feel like I've been pretty tantrum free lately.
Well, that's good. Are tantrums normal?
Maybe I just black out. Tantrum. Come back.
What's the animal that just like falls asleep after it like loses it? Life as a mom, entrepreneur, wife, friend, and human is a lot. Join me, Katie Jacobs.
And me, Brandy Chandler, every Thursday as we have unfiltered, hilarious, and relatable conversations about the ups, the downs, and the chaos of it all.
Pour a glass and pull up a seat.
Because you're always welcome at our table. Welcome to She Did What? Hope you like your hair.
We are wild today. Our hair, if you are a YouTube watcher, you're getting quite the show.
It's hot in here.
It's a hair show. She did tantrums. Don't have a tantrum. Wow, I love that we did our hair like toddlers for tantrums. But today we're not just talking about toddler tantrum.
We're talking about full-grown adult tantrums.
All of them. All tantrums welcome.
We do not discriminate.
No, we love all tantrums. Today we talk about how to deal with them when we've had them, how to avoid them in toxic situations like work and family, and where do we go from here? Buckle up.
I don't know if I'll be allowed to talk on this episode.
Why not?
Josh would be like, she cannot talk about tantrums.
Because you have them a lot?
I don't feel like I do.
I feel like your home life, like what you see with me and JJ is really what you get home. I feel like you and Josh present very differently in public. Because y'all are just like so nice and like,
yeah,
you know,
we're
together.
Not.
And then you're like, the things you say about your home life are a little different. They don't quite jive.
My friends have seen me have a tantrum before.
Tell the story.
Well, there's probably a few of them.
Well, tell your favorite.
I don't even know if I have a favorite tantrum.
Tell the most recent then.
That's what I was actually trying to think of. And I can't. Josh is going to call in right this instant and be like, look, 3 days ago, 12:01 a.m. I don't remember my last tantrum.
Okay.
I feel like I've been pretty tantrum free lately.
Well, that's good. Are tantrums normal?
Maybe I just black out. Tantrum. Come back.
What's the animal that just like falls asleep after it like loses it? I had a really bad tantrum on Sunday. It was bad.
This Sunday?
Yeah.
What?
I was going through thousands of photos for my dad's memorial. And I mean, it was hours and hours.
Photo-induced tantrum.
And so I had the stack that I needed to scan in to send over for the video slideshow. And I had spent my entire Sunday going through photos, sobbing, emotional, all like thinking of all these memories, all these highs, all these lows, all these things, flooding. And my mom, I know.
This is now, wait, it's going to get good.
Making piles of photos. Like I had a pile because my best friend is literally on a flight right now from Australia. Do you want to hear something crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Her dad's memorial is the same day as my dad's memorial.
Oh my goodness.
I said to her last week, I said, Katie, what day? Because she's going to be here for about 2 weeks, seeing family, friends, seeing me. I said, what day is your dad's memorial exactly? Because she's going to spend multiple weekends. She said, it's the same day as my dad's.
That's
the Saturday.
Insane.
I know. So crazy. Anyway, I digress. I had a pile of pictures of our childhood that I had put aside. So I had like these, and then I had a pile. I just had these organized piles, you know, but it was organized chaos a little bit, but I knew where everything was. And the pile of my dad's photos suddenly was gone from where I had put it. And my mom has a really bad memory. And I was like, Mom, where are the photos? And she's like, she started panicking and she's like, I don't know. And then I was like, thinking that the pile had gone into a pile and I'd started to put back into these huge tubs of photos and just like kind of not really more at random. And I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to have to go through all of these tubs of photos to find the stack. And I'm not proud of this, I started yelling at my mom. And I started sobbing, like hiccup sobbing, like can't catch your breath sobbing. And then I just laid on the ground. Cried.
You had the typical overstimulated stress tantrum.
Is that typical?
Yeah.
I did not know you were going to bring this energy to this episode, and I'm eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. We understand that tantrum.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All our friends are
I was
having
really
these.
hesitant to tell this story.
No. I feel like everyone is having that kind of tantrum.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Can
even
you make me
classify
feel better
that as a tantrum.
Really? Oh my God,
I feel like the
Brandy.
tantrum is more of an uncalled in adults. It's more of a uncalled for, could have been handled another way situation. You know?
Well, okay. Now we're categorizing it.
I feel like you just had a mini moment.
I had a meltdown. I've had a couple big meltdowns. So let's start with kids. One of the things that I like to ask, because I'm a good mommy, bad mommy, is when my kids are truly melting down, and this has really helped because I did not always ask this question. Are they hungry, angry, lonely, tired?
Lonely.
Well, my middle gets lonely a lot.
Little pumpkin.
I know.
He can come hang out with
And
me.
he'll have a little tantrum, and I realize he just needs like a little one-on-one time.
Yeah.
I know. Does your middle? No, he's so
No,
good.
my middle is like the easygoing.
He
Really is. I love him so much.
I would adopt him as a fourth boy. He
He
teach
might
the
not be
others.
that way if he lived with boys.
That's true.
He's just in a house of tantrumy women. He's like, now I know why dad goes out and works in the yard.
And is Toby Keith? Is that what you call it?
No,
Is Toby
Kenny
Keith?
Chesney.
Kenny Chesney. Toby Keith, sorry. I don't know where that came from. Donald Trump of it all.
Toby Keith. That's a lot of people like Toby Keith, though.
A lot of people do.
Josh could be a cross.
A Toby
Kenny.
Kenny cross. This has gotten off the rails. Can we get back on track? So are you hungry? Asking yourself, is this child hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or just being an asshat? Is what I added.
Yeah, because children have that.
Because I will check all those things and then be like, nope, it's just typical douche canoe behavior.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just
And
being
sometimes you give them a break because it's just a combo of all those, or we've had a lot of really busy days in a row.
Yeah. I would say hungry's obvious, angry, duh, tired, yes, we get it. Lonely was the one that stood out to me because when I was thinking, I was like, I know the three, and it's like the lonely one, I think, is the one we forget. And I think as humans, we forget, like sometimes we do get lonely or feel alone or feel
Secluded.
yeah. And it's really important, I think, at those times to reach out.
But I think that brings up a good point that there are other categories that other specific children may have that you just have to get to know your child to know they're missing a need and what is that need.
Like, I don't think my other two get the lonely thing. I think that's very specific to my middle son because he's hustled between older kid activities. The younger always gets attention.
Yes.
I think that for him is very much, and by lonely, I think it's, we call it mommy Griffey time, or he needs to go with JJ to hit golf balls. Or he needs to be seen. He needs to be seen. That's right. And I think a lot of my friendships, I think I have some friends that we will say, I see you. I understand where you're coming from. I appreciate what you're doing and how hard you're working for your family, your life, whatever.
And I think the important part with kids is to not just ask these things in your parent head, but to go through them with them sometimes. So they start learning how to self-regulate and how to self-check. Like, okay, I'm freaking out. Am I freaking out because of why?
Brilliant. Do you do that with your kids? Do you work through it?
I mean, I yell it at them, but yeah, we
are you hungry?
Like, I've had enough of this. What's wrong with you? Are you hungry?
Are you tired?
I mean, I'm not saying I do it perfectly.
No, we're bad mommies.
But I think that's important. I have a friend that her son would sometimes be like, he would just want to go be quiet by himself for a minute. And she's like, no, you need to go play with kids. And I'm like, no, that's good that he can
He's
self-check
regulating.
that I just need a minute to quiet the chaos, go over here, and then I can be my best self when I come back. And I've always tried to emphasize to her, like, I think that's a great skill that he's already doing himself.
That's beautiful. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try asking them so that they can start to ask themselves, because even
other people.
But also yourself.
Yeah. But you need to be aware, they're freaking out. Let's not freak out at them.
Yes.
Let's really find the problem and help it.
I'm going to get to that very shortly. But also asking yourself, do I need a nappy snacky?
Yeah.
Am I lonely? Do I need to talk to someone? Am I just pissed? And why?
Overstimulated?
Yeah. Generally, when my kids break mom, it's just too much going on.
Yeah.
JJ said last night, my mom was playing poker with two of the boys. I know. We had dinner
Did
going.
your grandma beat you in poker? Is that where this tantrum's coming from?
That'd be so funny. So my mom's playing poker with the kids. We're making dinner, but also watching Jeopardy, and JJ, it was just so loud and he was exhausted, and he just looked at me and he goes, I think I'm going to go to bed. And
JJ got overstimulated?
He did.
I thought it was going to be you.
It's the first time I've ever seen him overstimulated.
Oh, he must be getting sick.
Oh no, I can't do a man cold right now.
I can't, but I've never seen the men get overstimulated.
I have never. He looked at me and he was like, I just feel like I need to go get in bed. I can't handle this. And he's usually pretty good. He's actually usually adding to it. He has a booming loud voice. Everyone in my family is loud.
That's like Josh. He's normally on top of all the chaos. He'll start singing and I'm like...
JJ will start whistling and his whistle pierces my eardrum. He's like, shh, shh. I'm like, oh my God, shut up.
Yeah, I'm normally the overstimulated.
Yeah, for sure. I dated a guy and he told me one time, and this always stuck with me, I don't know why, for some reason. And he said one time he was having a tantrum in the grocery store and he decided his parent wasn't reacting. He was just going to lay down and really throw it on the ground and just and his parent, who was a doctor, looked at him and was like, you can do this all you want, but you're just embarrassing yourself. Everyone's looking at you. They're not looking at me. And I loved that so much. And I've used it a couple times.
Yeah.
When my kid's acting crazy at Target because they want a toy and they can't get one. Mm-hmm. I'm like, everyone's looking at you because you sound like a very not grateful child. Be grateful for all that you have. You're not getting a toy today. Bing, bang, boom. But I loved that.
Call your auntie Brandy. She'll buy you a toy.
Put the onus on them a little bit too.
Yeah.
If you're checking all the other boxes.
Well, and it just teaches them you're not going to get anything out of this. You're literally just... Right.
You can't go on an errand with me and get something everywhere we go. I'm sorry. That ain't the word. I got locked in the car when I was a kid.
Yeah, we get in the car
at the Jewel
and I'm
Osco?
We are running this errand, this errand, this errand. We are going in for this. We are not going to the toy aisle. You are not buying something at the checkout. I lay it out before we even go in.
Sometimes I just like to say no, just because I have boys and they just need to hear no. No.
A huge thanks to this episode's sponsor, Salon DM3. I love looking at a salon's social media page and seeing a vast array of styles. Crisp bobs, flowing layers, pixies, super long mermaid hair. The variety in styles shows me that this salon is in the business of true personal beauty and style, making each person their best, and also that they're open to trying new and exciting things. And this type of variety and expertise is exactly what you will see when you look up Salon DM3. Donna Means opened Salon DM3 on Baxter Street in Athens in 2011 with the vision of giving her clients the ultimate salon experience and developing more successful stylists for her community. And boy, has she done an excellent job at both of these things. At Salon DM3, you will experience the highest level of detail and attention to your hair, the finest European hair color, and a host of exclusive beauty products. Donna and her staff are constantly undergoing education to grow and learn in their trade and to serve their clients with superior skills and services. You can see their work firsthand on Instagram at DM3Athens
where there are also some client testimonials that really give you an insight into how the Salon DM3 experience leaves their clients feeling from that first visit to decades of visits. You can also learn more and book appointments online at salondm3.com. Get yourself into Salon DM3 for the hair you've always wanted.
Teens. The hormones, as the Greeks say.
You don't, I don't know. You don't have girls, but whew,
I know.
you don't know what's coming, girl.
I have heard nothing but terrible things. 0 out of 10 review. Lots of notes, lots of feedback from my friends with teen girls.
Well, and I think it's like humorous / extra frustrating because it's just so ridiculous. They're just like, but you also, I feel a little bad for my daughter sometimes because I'm like, you just have so much hormone pumping through your body.
They're not driving the car.
She's just blind with rage.
It's, what's that Sandra Bullock movie and Keanu?
Oh, the bus?
With the
Speed?
bus? Speed.
Is that what it was called?
The bus is just going. And it has to go because it has to get her to adulthood. Those hormones, they got to flow.
But she's just so worked out.
And she doesn't know why.
And then if you laugh, they get mad at her.
Oh, don't do that.
It's fun.
Brandy, I'll take you out for a drink after this. I have nothing to offer because I'm not there yet. Except, and I asked you this the other day, my girlfriend Jennifer and I locked eyes the other day. We had our kids together, our 10-year-olds. And I was like, is yours starting to pull this fucking shit with you? And she's like, the attitude. I was like, yes. I think it's the start.
Yeah, the very start.
The little tip of the iceberg.
And because Josiah is such a calm, well-mannered, even-keeled child, it started. Because I'm like, you're the one I can depend on.
No, my oldest. I'm like, you're my little dreamboat.
Yeah, but every now and then
it comes out. And I'm just like, oh my God. Are you speaking to me?
Don't do this to me.
I'm like, I know you. And I'll look at him. I'm like, I know you're not talking to me like that. I know what's going on right now, but just go talk to the wall.
Yeah.
Talk to the hand. The face don't understand,
But they're so funny because the boys are like dipping their toes in the water to test their hormone limits, and the girls just jump in. The girls are like cannonballing it. They're like cannonball.
The boys are dipping a little baby toe, and the girls are like, woo, we're in. The advice I gave a long time ago came from a friend who has grown kids who told me, or not grown kids, but kids who are over 18 who are out of college. No, I'm sorry, not yet out of college, but college aged. And she, it's like, you've got to feed them and then listen when they want to talk, no matter when that is, which we've talked about here, and then not to comment or judge. And that's really important when they're in their teens. And then just, riding a lot of friends who have kids who have come through the other side of the hormones, the teen hormones, say, ride it out. One day you will wake up and they will be themselves again. It's just getting to the other side. Actually, a lot of people here at the store will talk to me and tell me that. We'll kind of have conversations about kids. And that's a lot of the advice I get.
I think all that is pretty true, except personally, I think, like I said, with the younger kids, you need to ask those questions with them so that they know what's going on. Sometimes I think you need to let the teenagers know, like, you're being ridiculous.
Tell us what you do.
I say, you're being ridiculous.
Oh, it's that simple.
Because I just don't want them to go somewhere else and rage like this and think that's normal. I want them to know.
I don't see your kids ever going to someone else's house and going rage
maybe.
Monster.
So sometimes I'm like, sometimes they just need a vent session. But then there are other times I have to be like, you're being a little ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
We need to just calm down and think about this, sit on this, sleep on this.
I like that.
I think these feelings are going to go away.
Oh.
Because I just don't want them to be so okay with raging, with having a tantrum that they think it's okay to do anywhere, anytime. Because then you're going to turn into a you-know-who. Karen.
We're going to talk about that too. That's great advice and perspective, and I'm going to take that with me and remember it. I I think you're touching on something really important that I'm realizing as I'm actually like becoming more thoughtful in my parenting a decade in.
You're like 10 years in.
Here I am thinking about things.
It takes a while.
No, I think I'm starting to suss out how to handle things better. And what I'm hearing you say is that it's important to feel your feelings, but it's also important to keep them in check.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's going to have times where they just overflow with their feelings and there's no keeping anything anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want them to be so into themselves that they don't think about the consequences of their feelings and saying things. And
I'm glad you said that. I have a lot of, well, I regret it, but also I had postpartum rage, which no one talked about. I did not know I would get this boiling rage. Like after I didn't really have it after Mac. After I had my first two sons, like JJ would set a pen down on the countertop and I would be like, it was never at my kids. It was always at him. Never once at my children, always at my husband.
Rage.
I just would become it because I think, and it really did. It had an effect on my marriage.
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
Like, no shit, Sherlock. It had a really, because
maybe I had that.
He started really feeling like he was walking on eggshells, and I had this rage I couldn't control. My hormones would just surge. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he did the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it was very specifically, like, I would say, like, in the 6 to 9 months postpartum, like right after baby. And it didn't start until I would say like 3 month postpartum to 9 month postpartum, like a 6 month stretch where it was bad. And actually, I know I had it after Mac, but I remember specifically thinking, this is rage. Because no one, with my first two, that had never been identified. It was just like, oh, I'm just like a bad person.
Yes. Or
and
stressed
then
or overwhelmed.
It was the first time I heard that was actually something you would experience with your hormones. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. And after Mac, I think I was a lot more chill, and just when I would feel that surge, I would know, like you were talking about, this is hormone. This is going to pass. I'm not mad about the pen on the countertop. Mm-hmm. It's irrelevant.
And it doesn't mean you can control it all the time.
And it's just going to hurt my marriage.
Yeah. But just being conscientious of it maybe helps you from going to rage.
Exactly. Or if you're feeling it, knowing that the wave is going to crest and you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. If you just ride it for a second and recognize it and name it. And don't act on it, to your point.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about teens. They do not have the brain development to think about consequences and control.
Right. The medulla oblongata.
They're just not there.
Is it the medulla oblongata?
I don't know where it is, but it's not
there.
No,
it's the prefrontal lobe. It's
I feel like it's
I'm just naming parts of the brain.
Katie, the neurosurgeon. Welcome to our episode.
But isn't it, they're not fully developed until, 21, I think?
Oh, it's a lot.
26, I think?
Sometimes I'm like, are we going to make it?
Put on your helmet, kids. So, riding it out, naming what the tantrum is, we're deciding. I love how we do these podcasts and we sort of like work through all this, because I take it with me.
It's therapy.
So good. We're therapying ourselves.
We should let people pay us to come on the podcast and talk about their issues. We'll just listen.
And then give really shitty advice.
Be like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Sorry.
Oh my God. Oh, girl, that sounds bad.
You want a margarita?
Oh, that sounds rough. We'll take you out for a drink. I will say, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, just going out and getting a margarita and some cheese dip is...
Yeah. That guacamole and those chips will solve some problems.
Yes, ma'am. Adults. We tantrum for the same reason kids do. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. But stress just puts us in a pressure cooker. We're in the air fryer of life, just crisping up.
We're like a can of green beans. Because in the pressure cooker, you can stuff.
You do? In a pressure cooker?
Yes,
didn't
that's
know
how you
that.
get the cans to seal.
Really?
Oh my goodness. YouTube it.
All right. I got to be a better homesteader. So I have a story. I want to talk about Karens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because Karen culture, like canceling people, I get it. The woman goes in, throws her coffee at the coffee maker because it's not right. That's a Karen. Karen. Yelling at someone because you don't like what they're doing. Karen. But what if there's a place in this world where it takes two to tango? And sometimes you can be like a Karen, but really there's another side to the story. Like I actually read an article about this in maybe the Free Press. I can't remember. And it was like, has Karen culture created a culture of people who aren't like where there's two sides to the story, but you're only seeing one of them? I think essentially was like the gist of it. I skimmed it on the airplane. But basically the idea is that like in some of these cases, there's actually another side to the story. And it's not just a Karen being a Karen. It really is like there's more to it, you know?
It's almost like who's first to call Karen.
Ooh.
Like as soon as you call Karen on someone, they're the Karen and you get off scotch-free.
Well, it's funny. I was telling a story about, I had a friend asked me if I'd ever had someone steal from the store. And I said, yes. And I told the story about chasing this girl she had stolen. And then she called me a Karen. And I was like, yeah, I'm not a Karen. I just caught you.
Just
stealing.
shoplifted. And I'm the Karen.
And I'm the Karen.
For calling you out on it. Yeah.
For running after you for 3 blocks.
That was
and chasing you into a restaurant.
Karen calling.
What a Karen. But I did have a moment. Okay.
I've been waiting.
For the Christmas parade in downtown Athens every year, I invite whoever wants to come, whoever I see that week really is what it is. And I'm like, oh, come in. We close my store down. We're on the parade route. There's bathrooms.
There's heat.
There's heat. It's a good, the kids can come in and out. Adults can enjoy. It's a fun time. Well, it had started to get like bigger and bigger every year. And the was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Cause the baby was pretty new still. And I was trying to put this whole thing on, and JJ and I were not in a good place that day. Like we had been arguing, and I had to order pizzas. So I called the local pizza shop where I always get the pizzas from for this thing. And I was driving, and I was like, I was really overstimulated that day. Mm-hmm. There was a lot going on at work. There was just a lot happening. I was feeling very overwhelmed. The baby, everything. And I called the pizza shop, and I said, I was trying to figure out while I was driving and doing all this stuff, how many pizzas I needed. So bad idea. I should have called and said, this is how many pizzas I need. And I was like, how many slices are in the large versus the medium? And he said it in a way that was weird. And I was like, so the large is 8 pieces and the medium is 2. And he like kind of went off on me. Like he was kind of an asshole about it. Like he was like, you know what? I just said it. Do you not get it? Like something like that. I went off. I started crying. I was like,
that
you know
was a
what?
little warranted,
you don't need
though.
to speak like that to me. I mean, it was, but I like took it up 20 notches.
Oh, well. You were provoked.
But no, I was like, I don't understand why you're being so rude. I'm your neighbor. I order pizzas from you all the time. He was like, I know you. And I was like, even more reason. I'm your fucking customer. But I was just like, I pitched a fit in that I was like, I'm your customer. I cannot believe you're speaking to me like this, which was kind of like a little over the top. Okay, like Katie, get over it. He's a pizza guy, whatever. But I also was just like, I'm your fucking customer. Like, don't be rude to me. And I was like, I said this to him. I said, I am having a bad day. And he goes, well, that's not my problem. Fair.
He was not going to let you have that tantrum.
I was like, wow. I was like, okay. Thanks so much. Have a great one. And I hung up on him.
So where'd you order pizza from?
Well, then I called him back.
It's just like, I'm so sorry.
I did. I called back and I apologized. He goes, what do you want? And I said, listen. I said, I'm really sorry. I was like, I'm having a very, very bad day. I was like, I took it out on you. That was not the right thing to do. I apologize. He's like, great. What do you want to eat? And I said, I'm not going to order pizzas today. it's the right thing to do to call you and apologize. And he was like, okay. And I've never ordered pizza from there since then. And I probably never will.
But you apologized.
But also, I was just a human in a human moment where I could have been, he probably was like, what a Karen. You know what I mean? But like, I really was just having a human, I was being a human, having a human moment. And where's the line between Karen and human?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the line is apologizing.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had screwed up.
I mean, you could easily have never talked to that man again.
And I never will.
But you apologized first.
But it was also, I knew it was the right thing to do. Like I felt immediately when I hung up, I felt a deep sense of shame.
And I think that makes you not a Karen. Like if you were doing this all the time and never apologizing, maybe you're
like
a Karen.
That's the only time in my life I've ever spoken to anybody, especially in service or whatever.
Everybody is going to have a tantrum, a fit, a Karen.
It was a tantrum.
At some point.
It was a good tantrum. But he was like not, he was just being a jerk for no reason. And it just was like, are you really just being a jerk for no reason right now?
He was like a Karen instigator. We were just seeing who
he was a
get
Katie
across
instigator.
The line. We're going to start calling him Katie's.
Please don't. Please don't. I feel also, can we say, I just feel bad for women named Karen.
I know.
I have made friends with someone that I really, really enjoy.
Do you have a Karen friend? I've only ever known one Karen, and she was not a Karen at all.
I know. I don't think.
I've known two.
I feel bad, but she doesn't spell it the same, but she's not, I mean, she's just.
That is.
But also I don't associate.
Sorry.
You know, I don't associate. Anyway. But the grief thing, like grief has really made me a toddler because I also had a tantrum when I went to Florida.
Tell me this one.
Do you think that people want to hear it?
Yeah. Is it funny?
It's kind of funny. It's kind of.
They want to hear it.
Well, I didn't anticipate struggling walking in on a family dynamic.
Without your dad.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't think that's necessarily a tantrum because I think that like when you said that, I was like, yeah. Like,
no, I mean, I did have a tantrum though. Like JJ started playing a Beatles song and I was like, can you please stop? And my mother-in-law was like, does that make you sad? And I was just like, I just like got up and I had a plate of food and I went in the kitchen and I like slammed it down and I went to bed.
You were just overwhelmed.
Which I felt bad about, but I also was like, I'm just being a human. But I didn't anticipate that. But also, I think like these two specific times I've talked about on the podcast today, like we're very tantrumy, but like the weird thing about grief specifically with tantrums is I don't feel very in control.
Yeah, I feel like you're just dealing with the emotions and your new reality.
Like they just bubble up. Like right now. Fun.
Yeah.
Wow, didn't have my tissue ready for this.
I know.
one.
I don't know where they are.
That's okay.
Sorry,
YouTubers.
Use your shirt.
It's new.
Like my kids.
Can I use your shirt?
Sure. I'll wash it later.
But I think, tantrums as an adult come up not just because hungry, angry, lonely, tired, but because of the pressure of being an adult and what you're going through.
That I would say most of my tantrums are like stress, overstimulation, and just pressure. Just it all builds up and then it blows.
Exactly. And we're, I don't think we should be shocked that people are having more and more public tantrums because the pressure cooker is it just feels like that intensity is going up in life. Especially, I think, in a political year, that just adds a sense of like an ominous sense to everything, every conversation, every dinner table. It's just like, here we go.
Well, and I think a lot of these that we end up seeing on social media or the news comes from two people reaching their pressure cooked level together.
Yeah.
And it just made for some good entertainment. So I feel like everyone's kind of trying to hold it together and then eventually we can't and the two meet up.
Yeah.
And it's just a bad time.
No, I mean, that's a really good way.
Because, think about you're getting your coffee, you're already having a bad day. The coffee shop people don't know that. They're having a bad day. You don't know that. They mess up your order. Like everybody's having a bad day. Everybody's got stuff going on that you don't know about. And that's why I really try to emphasize with my kids if you can identify and control it a little bit, not lose it on another human being, that might be worth it because we're all having a hard time.
Right.
I'm not saying bottle up and not deal with yourself, but at the same time, we're all on the brink.
I think these times I've talked about, like, not with my mom, because I think with family, you're in your safe zone, but with my in-laws at their home, and then also, with the pizza guy, that's the only 2 times in my life, like, I've ever had an interaction where I feel like I've lost my composure in that sort of way in front of anybody outside of my very immediate nuclear family. And there's a lot of shame that comes with that. It's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't keep my stuff together. Like, specifically the pizza guy situation was like, I couldn't keep my stuff together and just say, hey, have a nice day, click, or just hang up.
Yeah.
Like, why did I go off? Why was that?
You were just at your limit.
But it's so out of character. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, but I think shame is a powerful motivator because it's like, okay, I'm definitely, if put in a situation like that again, either A, I'm not going to make that phone call because I'm going to recognize where I'm at, or B, I'm going to just say, okay, thank you so much. Have a great day. There's no need to engage.
And that's what really with like my teenager now, as she's getting older, that's what I kind of emphasize to her. Like, you can either engage and this is going to go insane,
right?
Or we can just say, I'm not going to deal with this today.
I'm good
and
on
you're
this.
Like, thanks, see you later, And then there too, and somebody has to be the peacemaker. Right. It doesn't mean you're wrong.
No.
It doesn't mean you can't have feelings, but somebody has to be the one to walk away. Somebody has to be the one that says, we're not going to do this today.
There's
tomorrow.
Never been an argument where I have held my tongue and walked away that I have thought later, oh, I really wish I would have said that in the heat of anger or rage or feeling in a pressure cooker. Now, maybe if someone was rude to me and it, whatever, like, we always think, oh, I wish I would have done.
I was going to say, it doesn't mean I didn't go home and have that argument in my head.
But I don't think I think it's better and wiser to just hold your tongue and not say something that might create regret or shame.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valuable. It doesn't mean that you are not the right person. But
right. There was a situation when my brother came home when we were all deeply grieving and it got very intense. And I, 10 years ago, would have engaged. Mm-hmm. And I got up, brushed my teeth, and went to bed.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I honestly was very proud of myself because I just was like, I've outgrown it.
You're such a big girl now.
But damn that pizza guy.
That pizza guy pushed your buttons.
He did. But it's interesting to think about all of the scenarios and also so I think something we need to talk about is like if you have a toxic situation where you have, I think like an employer is a good situation, maybe where they're having tantrums and you're having to deal with it, or and I think I'm really lucky that I don't work in a corporate and you didn't either. You worked in family business, and it's like I have definitely had naughty bosses who just were not, like I remember my boss threatened to fire me. A photographer I work for in South Florida threatened to fire me because I burnt popcorn. So like
Katie,
she had a tantrum.
Yeah.
Because I burnt the popcorn that I was eating for lunch, Mm-hmm. And like, how do you deal with that? Well, you just don't. You just decide like, I don't really need to be in a toxic environment.
Yeah. I think anywhere where you're dealing with people that are having very regular and repetitive tantrums is where you didn't sign up for that.
What would you advise someone who's maybe like in their 20s who's in a situation like that? Like if they're like, well, it's like my livelihood. I've got rent. I've got bills to pay.
You better start looking.
Get that resume.
Mm-hmm.
Dust it
off. Yeah,
because
if they're having them that regularly, they don't have the self-control. And there's nothing you can do, to help that.
Yeah.
It's not you. Them.
I remember I think I told this story. I lost my cool very, very early on in my business. And it was a really good teaching moment for me of like, when you're running into a brick wall with an employee over and over and they're not getting it, like that's on you. That's not on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost my cool. It wasn't a tantrum. I just got heated. And I've really tried to keep that with me is like, you can't like, it ends with you, everything, right? The onus is on the person who is higher level, whether you're a CEO or you own your own business, it's the onus is on you to develop a team that you want. And if someone's not playing the game and playing by the rules that you want over and over, that's on you, not on them.
That's leadership.
That's leadership, right? But I think in a situation, if you have someone who is a boss who is having tantrums, dust the resume off, go somewhere else because life is too damn short to deal with stuff like that.
And you're not gaining. That's not teaching you anything positive.
No. And you're probably just really stressed out.
And then you're going to become a Karen. And you're going to go somewhere else. You'll be like, this is so nice. I love it here.
Yeah. You're either going to go throw the coffee at the Starbucks worker because you're so pressure cooked, or you're going to go somewhere else and be happier.
Oh, yeah.
You do have a choice. Hey, baddies. Did you know you can now become an official She Did What Baddie supporter on Patreon? We have 3 tiers of support, and with each one, you get exclusive content. We're talking unedited videos of Brandy and I holding nothing back. You get access to short episodes such as Brandy interviewing me on my birthday, our take on the trad wife trend, and the very first time we ever tried to record an episode. And more are on the way. You get all of those episodes I just mentioned, plus a monthly catch-up episode where we talk about everything we love, loathe, are watching, reading, obsessed with, and what we're totally over. Plus, you get all the episodes, all the catch-ups, and a shout-out in the podcast credits as an executive baddie for the podcast. You'll be the first to hear news, events, and you'll be who we go to for polls and ideas. Go to the link tree on our Instagram page at Podcast She Did What to get straight to our Patreon and join today. You can also chat with us directly on Patreon. We can't wait for you baddies to see this extra content and enjoy the fun. Elderly tantrums. Elderly folk.
They can do whatever they want.
I know.
That'd make a good reel. Grandma beating someone with her cane. She can do it.
I think that reel exists.
She's 80.
She's 80. She's earned the right.
Yeah. I think once you passed 80, I don't care. Have a tantrum.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You're wise. You could do it.
I think a lot of times I would see, not a tantrum, but I would see my nanny get really upset because she lost so much control. She couldn't hear. She couldn't drive. You know?
Yeah.
And I think she was just like I think there's a lot of, I would say frustration, not tantrum, but a lot of frustration with elderly folks around the loss of control of their lives. I mean, people are living a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And she was 93 and it was like, yeah, I'd be pissed too if I couldn't hear anything and everyone's talking. And
you couldn't drive away from people driving you nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be my biggest thing. My kids are going to be all like around taking care of me. I'm going to be like, I just want to be alone.
Get away from me.
Just a few
Put
minutes.
on an audiobook and leave the room.
Yeah.
I don't know. So just, we don't have any answers for you.
Just try not to tantrum yourself.
Or if you are, ask yourself, like, what's going on here?
Apologize if you need to.
Apologize, because I do think some tantrums are part of life.
We're all going to have a tantrum.
I'm still dying to hear about your tantrums, but I guess you're just going to
We may have to have Josh.
Should we have Josh on the Patreon tell a story of one of your
Josh
tantrums?
would be like, excuse me, you said you couldn't remember your last tantrum. It was probably this morning. I just blacked it out.
Right before this.
No, I was calm this morning.
You were calm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were. You were. Well, try to stay calm, kiddos. Try to keep those tantrums at bay.
Or if you have a really funny tantrum story, leave us a voicemail.
Mm-hmm. Or shoot us a DM or whatever. Email. Whatever
You can make
wanna
it
do.
on the pod anonymously.
Anonymous. We'll keep you anon.
But it'd be funny.
It would be funny. Well, share your stories with us. As per usual, you're always welcome at our table, whether you're having a tantrum or having a joyful day. Oh my gosh, I remember something else I wanted to say.
Say it.
So being in a pressure cooker, we're talking about that. Have definitely felt pressure cooker the last couple of days. And I was very proud of myself. And I thought, I need to talk about this on the pod. This morning, I got in the car and I was like already cycling through like relaxed woman style, all the things I had to do, just so relaxed. And then I thought, you know what? If today were my last day on earth, I would choose joy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to put on my trashy podcast that I love to listen to that brings no mental value to my life, but it just gives me joy. And I'm going to sip my coffee and enjoy my ride to work with my podcast that, you know, I feel a little guilty listening to, but it's just a fun escape. And I'm just going to enjoy my morning. And I think we have the option to choose joy more often than we think. And that was kind of my takeaway there, is like, we have the option for joy, and we have the option at any given moment to choose a better path. Like, you can feel the pressure cooker, or you can say, screw the pressure cooker. I want to jump out of this thing and experience a little joy.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be the peacemaker.
And it's you, Brandy. It's you, babe.
Good luck, Brandy.
All right, y'all. Thanks for sticking with us this week. We hope you are having a great Thursday, and we'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed our conversation and can't wait to share another episode with you next Thursday.
Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. To keep up with the latest, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Podcast She Did What. We'll be sharing updates, behind the scenes, and announcements you won't want to miss.
And if there's anything you'd like to share with us, whether it be a personal story or feedback on our episodes, you can leave us a voicemail at 762-499-2201 or head over to our website, shedidwhatpodcast.com. Also, feel free to leave us a review down below. We'd love to know what you think.
She Did What is hosted by us, Brandy Chandler and Katie Jacobs, and produced by Studio D Podcast Production.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next Thursday. And remember, it isn't always easy, but it sure as hell can be entertaining.